Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Folks, the Ogle family, if you want to talk about hospitality, that's the name you start with, because they have been doing hospitality in the Smoky Mountains since it first became a national park. Parkside Cabin Rentals has dozens and dozens and dozens of different floor plans and cabins for you to pick from. You go to their website, you see it right there, parksidecabinrentals.com. You can look at all the floor plans, the locations, the amenities in each and every one of those cabins and find the perfect one for you. parksidecabinrentals.com. All right. As part of Danny White's 5-year plan that they unveiled a couple of weeks ago, Rise Glorious, not the name I would have gone with. That's just asking for trouble, I fear. But as part of the Rise Glorious plan, he did point out that he wants each of the Tennessee programs to win an SEC title every 5 years. He wants each program to finish in the top 16 nationally every 4 years. Fans and media love the definite goals. I love the bravado of coming out and just saying, here's what I'm looking for. But, Will Overstreet, I'll start with you. Has he caused himself more troubles down the road? Because now that you've said, here's the baseline, fans are going to expect you to whack guys if they don't hit the baseline.
I don't think so. And the name I have a problem with. I mean, that obviously has a little bit of issues.
Like a preacher?
It does. It sounds like a lot of things, but not something I'd put on the goals. But overall, I think the fan base is going to get there anyways. If you hadn't won in 5 years, they're going to be calling for your head. There's a number of portion of people. So for him to aspirationally put out and say, this is what we're going to do, this is our goals that we're going to head for, I mean, I don't know where he gets in trouble, just because I think the fan base in 5 years is going to be screaming for somebody's head and going, Danny White, you don't believe in success and number one if you don't cut this guy. So I think he's just played into it and said, hey, I'm going to put it out and give you something to put there. But it really doesn't hurt him in my mind.
Well, the biggest problem I have with it is your flagship program, football, is the only one of your major programs that I don't think is in a position right now to make that achievement.
To win an SEC championship.
Your basketball team, your ladies basketball team, baseball, softball, your bigger programs, I think are in good shape to do it. But the one that has the most pressure, I disagree. I think you've added a little bit of pressure to that, because if we're, I guess, now 4 years away and Josh Heupel still hadn't done it, Danny White going there, well, Josh, I told you back in 22, you're gone, you're done.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, here's the thing. If you stick to that, and he didn't say, this is what his expectation is. He did not say at any point, I'm firing them if they don't meet this.
Right.
But fans will expect them to be fired. And here's the problem with that. You would have fired Johnny Majors in 1981 here. You would have, after 1981, you would have fired Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech. You would have fired Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. That 5-year thing, I'll give you another one. It was the craziest SEC championship game I've ever been to. Tennessee and Peyton Manning finally win the title over Auburn in that sloppy 30-29 game. If they lose 29-28, that's 5 years. Fulmer doesn't win a title. Should he have been fired? I just think that's what you do by putting a specific number. Fans take that as, and they don't allow for caveats and exceptions. Right. And AD would, obviously.
Right. Because, I mean, Danny White doesn't need to be running the athletic program based on Twitter, right? I mean, or based on the absolute crazy fans that sometimes every fan base
Although
has.
that's happened here.
Right, it has been. And it's
how you
not
got
the way to
Jeremy
do
Pruitt.
it. It's not to have this ultra, rule right here that says there are no exceptions. We're going to do this if this happens. If he's doing that, Danny White's going to get fired in 2 years, right? Because he would be a bad administrator. So he's got to take everything into account. But like I said, I don't think he got him into much trouble because, like I said, I think the fan base is already there. We already talked about it. Expectations, they're not reasonable for a lot of people. They're not saying third's okay. They're saying they have to win, beat Georgia and beat everybody this year. Otherwise, they throw them all out. So I think right now, with where you're at, with where the world's at, you can lay down this thing, and it's for conversation. It says to the team and it says to the coaches, and you put it external, but it's for an internal message of this is what I expect of you.
And see, I thought it should have probably stayed an internal message instead of laying that out there. Because face it, Tennessee's got a boisterous fan base, and if you don't live up to the expectation,
so you're saying
can we now get back to making fun of the name?
So it should have been. You're saying it should have been internal memo glorious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. When we come back, Ryan Callahan will join us again to talk about recruiting and the impact of these NCAA allegations on Tennessee's recruiting efforts. That's next on the Sports Source.
Miss an episode? Catch up at sportsource.tv or our YouTube channel.